Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It is Hump Day, Wednesday, October 20th, 2021. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. I hope everyone's enjoying their day so far. Welcome, Crucible Man, Katie Boat, and GP Man 45. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I had to start the show over. Okay. So let's get started. Today I want to talk about failure. And I know the question is kind of odd. Should parents and teachers encourage or teach us to fail? And basically, I want to know, can people handle failure? If we're always driven to succeed, when we fail, will it be more difficult to accept? And, I think that especially in America and probably, in places like China where, you have success, your grades are everything and, you must succeed, you must succeed. If you're hearing that all the time when you're growing up, what happens when you fail? What happens when you are maybe running for a class president and you come in last? I mean, what happens? Or what happens when if you're just playing a game of cards and you lose, or you're playing a board game and you lose? When my son was younger, we played board games all the time, and he would get very upset when he lost. And my friends would say, "Well, why don't you just let him win? He's a little kid." I don't believe that you should let children win. I'm not saying that you lose and then you rub it in their face or anything, but now when my son does not win something, or if he doesn't succeed at something, he kind of just, okay, I didn't, I just have to try harder next time, or maybe I'll win next time, whatever. It's not a big deal to him. So my question is, should we teach people how to fail? Should we say that, instead of saying you have to win this race, you must be number one, is it okay to be number two? Because the bottom line is, you can't have a winner if there's no loser. You can't come in first place if no one's running against you. I mean, if you're running a race and you're all by yourself and you cross that finish line, oh, okay, but did you come in first? So basically, I just want to know what people think about failure. And do people have a fear of failure? And GP Man says, as the Kansas City Chiefs lost the Super Bowl. I mean, and then let's look at athletes. You have some athletes who are at the top of their game, and when they fail, sometimes they don't take it very well. So I'm going to open it up. If anybody wants to grab the mic, you're more than welcome. Welcome, RVW6KP. So that is the topic for today. And of course, we will probably veer off into something else, but that's what we're starting with today, about failure. Hello, the dude, Sean. I haven't seen you for a while. Welcome back. So does anyone want to disagree with me or comment on anything that I've said? If not, I will keep going. Crucible Man, okay, you have the mic.
Hello, everyone. I will kick things off here. Yeah, encouraging failure is probably not the exact verbiage that you're probably searching for. I think people should be encouraged to accept failure. I think you always want them to strive to be their very best. But, I grew up at a time I played a lot of sports. And you're right, you can't have winners without losers. And we just kind of took it on the chin and moved on. What I understand today about the sports culture of the youth, you hear these jokes about participation trophies. There are no winners and losers. Everybody goes to Dairy Queen after the game, winners and losers. And you can't tell them apart. And I think that's hurting children in terms of their acceptance of losing. Somebody does have to win and somebody does have to lose. You don't want to make it so all important that their identity gets wrapped up. And it doesn't have to be just sports. You're right. It could be class president. It could be anything. But it seems to me the better thing to encourage is the inevitability of failure, and it doesn't define you in terms of your existence or anything. But I do think we have veered off as a culture in the last 25 or 30 years in terms of going easy on these kids and their fragile psyches. And I don't think it serves them well down the road. You wind up with these safe spaces in colleges and these kids, constantly in the fetal position because they can't accept or understand, life's not always fair. So I'm not sure I'm answering the question or not there, but encouraging failure, probably not. Encouraging the acceptance of the inevitable, absolutely.
Okay, all right, and okay, my verbiage, could have been a little off, but the reason why I said encourage failure is because like you just said, we are so busy telling, when we're younger, win. You see these parents who are at these little league games and these soccer games, and and they're just going crazy, and they're having fights in the stands, and all the kids want to do is just play. And then when their kid, strikes out, you see the parent is like yelling at them, whatever. So it's like, is it okay if I strike out? So what? I'm out here having fun. So, I just think that, yes, we are. I think that children are growing up where parents now are doing more for them than possibly that happened 20, 30, 40 years ago. I don't know why that is. I think part of it possibly could be that, now you cannot get a job, in the United States for the most part, unless you're 18. I started working when I was 14. I mean, not that my parents told me I had to go out and get a job, but I was able to work when I was 14. I was able to earn money and what have you. But now it's like it seems like we're just raising a group of children who, when they become adults, they just don't know how to fail because they're always told to succeed. So anybody want to answer that, Crucible Man?
I think that's true, and I just typed in the chat box. Parents are a lot more likely to get wrapped up in these outcomes than the kids are. You're right. The kids just want to play maybe up to a certain age, and then they start to take it a little bit more seriously. Maybe they just get tired of losing. I don't know, but parents are definitely responsible for shaping the mindset. And you're right. It is a lot of win. And if you don't win, you're a loser. You didn't just lose, you're a loser. And that's a dangerous kind of thing to instill in a child's mind as well. But I think just as dangerous as what I said at the beginning is that failure is okay. It's okay that you failed. It's okay that you lost. What matters is that you tried really hard. And that's true, because we're going to lose in life many more times than we're going to win. That's just the nature of the beast, I think. So again, I think preparation for, you're going to get knocked down. The trick is how do you get back up again? And I think that is what needs to be taught to kids, instead of, participation trophies and no worries, you didn't win, but you'll get them next time. I think life teaches that. I don't even know that parents and teachers necessarily even play that role significantly. I think life kind of takes that role and does it for us. And we learn at a very young age that it isn't always going to go our way. I think the role of the parent and the teacher is to explain to them why it's okay that you failed, and that sportsmanship and integrity and things like that, they matter too. And it doesn't mean that because you're a loser, you're a good loser. It's just that somebody had to win and somebody had to lose. I think that's the better lesson.
Okay, so I'm looking at some of these comments here, and they are interesting. I like what. Let me go up some. Okay, so GP Man says, "Tell you what, these kids are growing up with social media, showing them false lifestyles and hope." And then the dude Sean says most kids don't even enjoy formal after school activities. And that is true. When I was, growing up in school, we had so many after school activities, but now, with budget cuts and what have you. And, there's just, kids just don't do that anymore. And if they do it, you have to pay for it. And unfortunately, there are some people who can't afford to put their kids in paid after school, social programs. So, and then Cap says you have to lose in order to learn. And I agree with that. But Crucible Man, I am going to say, when you say that you don't know if teachers or parents, teach that's something that you learn in life. I do believe it is something that you learn in life. But if you're going home all the time and you constantly hear, when you bring that report card home, you better have straight A's, and like I said, if you go to these little league games and all they want to do is play baseball and the parents are in the stand yelling and screaming and fighting with each other, about someone else's kid, striking out, or, your kid's such a loser and stuff, it just messes with a child's psyche. So it's like, is that child afraid that if they don't do well in this particular sport, if they don't play football, or if they, instead of bringing home an A, they brought home a C, what are their parents going to do? So, that's why I say, can we teach failure? Because there are some people who literally have a fear of failure because what's going to happen to them when they get home, or, whatever. Hello, feisty one. So does anybody want to jump in? And one thing that I am going to say. So Caps, I do see you, and I will bring you on in a second. I will ask that you do this, guys. I have no problem giving people the mic. I do ask that if you see someone that comes in and you want to talk to them, please do not talk to them over the mic. I am still trying to run a show here. If you guys want to talk to each other in chat or anything, that is fine, because I don't want to get to the point where, that I can't, run the show, or, give everybody a chance or whatever. So please, if you can do that, just out of respect, not just for me, but respect for everyone else, I just say thank you. All right. So Caps, you wanted to come on. So, all right.
Well, hello. Good morning, good
hello,
afternoon,
Caps.
or good night. I hope you're doing well.
Yes. So what did you have to say?
Well, I agree, with the majority of what you're saying, but what you mentioned about the masks and all that, with the kids and on the comments, it makes my kids, he's always been him. Let him be him, and that's what matters. And he wants the mask. He wants it. He's like, oh, I'm happy with it. He said, I don't really care what's going on. He don't want the jab though. We had a letter, and he don't want the jab. And that's nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me at all. He kind of went, I don't like needles anyway, Dad. I don't want it. I went, it's completely up to you, mate. I said, I ain't going to tell you anything. It's up to you. And yeah, Yeah, so he was like, if I don't have to have it, I said, it is your choice. I said, look, I said, it's a pandemic that you've heard. And he went, I know, yeah. And I went, like, look, he went, have you had yours? I said, look, I said, it's nothing, it's not about me, but I haven't. I said, because I don't know, like, at the minute, if I want to take it or not. It is optional. And he went, well, now I ain't having it. And I went, okay. And that was it, really. But, this is where you give your child decisions, I'm not going to force him to do anything. He's 13 years old. He's not a baby. So,
And you make a point, because sooner or later kids are going to figure it out. I mean, I'm not saying
yeah.
that you know you know if you don't tell your kid to bring home straight A's, that you're going to accept them
Mm.
walking in the house with a D or an F.
Well,
But
yeah,
but
yeah.
just
I
let them.
agree with what you're saying there, but you could do it with religion as well. Like, in a brief movement, what I'm going to say now, if a kid got brought up and they got baptized and they was practicing a religion that they have been brought up into rather than them choosing it, I've always had the opinion, and I've always made it very clear to my missus that my mum and dad are Catholic and Christian, but the point is that they've been baptized. My kids, I haven't been baptized because they had the same belief that I had. They're not going to baptize me until I choose whether I want to be baptized or not. And that's what I did for my child. And you know what? It's done quite well because, it's up to them. It's not up to me. You learn about something, then you do it. But if you read your kid in order to just like go into it, you know what I mean? And like, you expect them to be like following that when their true self, maybe not. It's up to them to choose. And like I say about the falling over, my children, I've watched them hit each other, and I've watched them sort it out, sort them like I've watched them learn how to not be, and having 4 children at an early age, like all of them really close in age. Obviously, you do see that, and I did see that, and it's amazing actually that you do find out even these kids, even when they're 1, 2, 3, they know that you shouldn't do wrong. Do you know what I mean? They
Yes,
know.
yes, yes.
They know in their heart. They do
So
know because I've seen it, and this is why you have to let your kid fall over because they know. And when they fall over, it's better. When you lose, it's better. It's fully better because you learn how not to lose again, or you learn from your losses. It's really important. It's like going to an interview for the first time and you go red and you get nervous. But the next interview and the next interview will get better due to the fact that you learn from the previous. It's quite obvious in life. You know.
does anyone?
Do you agree? Do you
No,
agree or not?
I do agree with you, but now I want to ask someone else. What they think. Does anyone? Okay, the dude Sean says most adults don't even take a loss healthy. Right, exactly.
Well,
They don't.
yeah, I agree. I agree. But everyone's
So
been rejected. But you gotta, no one
everyone
likes to be
has.
rejected. No one likes to lose. But it's a part of
No
life,
one
isn't
likes
it?
to be rejected. No one likes to
Mm-hmm.
lose, but it is a part of life. So, Caps, hold on for 1 second there. Um, I know that Caps and Crucible Man, they made some very good points. First of all, I want to say welcome to Shy Lady. Glad to have you back. Does anybody else want to comment on what Crucible Man and what Caps said? you know um because I personally think that it is important that children learn how to lose. They know how to come in second. They know how to fail, because we're not going to be around forever. We're not going to be around to pick them up and make everything okay and have their back. They're going to be on their own, and even if we are still around and they become adults, they need to know that when they go to work, or just life, you know learn how to fail. But like the dude says, if adults can't even, if we as adults can't even lose gracefully, then what are we showing our kids? So before Crucible, I know Crucible Man wants to say something. I know Caps probably wants to say something. I just want to know: does anyone else want to come on and take the mic and state their opinion? Anybody?
Right, that
Okay,
tells you
Shy
that no
Lady.
one wants to.
Okay, wait, hold on. Shy Lady, go ahead.
I've always taught my kids to take losing with grace. I mean, my kids have been playing competitive sports since they were little, and the same thing applies in the classroom. Like my daughter is very competitive as far as academics, and she's always studied harder than most people because she wanted to be the best in her class. So it's always been important to prepare my kids for the real world, not to expect something just because. So I think it's very important that parents teach their kids. Um, I mean, you're bound to have a failure, a mistake. There's nobody in this world um, who has never made a mistake. So it's part of life, and it's what the Bible says: trials and tribulations.
Okay, pretty good, pretty good. And I would agree with that. Does anyone want to comment now on what Shy Lady said, what Cap said, and what Crucible Man said?
No, I fully agree. I fully agree with what she said because I'm going through it right now with a 13, 12, 10, a 13, 12, 11, sorry, an 8-year-old. So yeah, it's really imperative that I make sure that they do what they want to do, and they want to learn more than what they're even like on their list. It's amazing. So it's good to have children that have got that mindset. You know, not everyone gets that because everyone's different. You know.
And that's and Caps brings up a good point. Everyone is different, even though I only had one child, but if you have more than one child in the family, I mean, I did have a sister. We're completely different, and the kids have their own personalities and what have you. And one kid may excel at sports, the other one may excel at academics, and you can't say, well, your sister always did this or your brother always did this. We have to recognize that, everyone's different. And also, your children may not be like you. Your children, just because you play football doesn't mean that your son wants to play football. I mean, maybe he wants to, go to cooking school and learn how to cook. So I guess my next question then is, when Crucible Man says that you don't know if that necessarily starts, with, or you don't necessarily think that it's parents or teachers, but it's life. But isn't this something that you do learn at home, that you do foster? If you foster your child's the fact that they are an individual, will that also help them in terms of success and failure? If my question, I know what I'm trying to say, so hope you guys kind of follow me there.
Yeah, if you're fostered, it doesn't change. In my eyes, what you're saying is like, does it matter whether the biological parents or whether they're fostered? Is that what
No. I'm saying that if you tell a child that they are an individual, that they're not like their brother, they're not like their sister, we know that you are your own person, whatever. By them knowing that and having that encouragement, will it determine?
I agree
Okay.
fully. Yeah,
Okay,
because
so yes.
all of my kids are individuals. They are all different. One likes Nike and all that like shit. The other one likes dresses. They're the two girls. And the one lad hates any type of cap or any type of movement like that. And the other kid loves all the caps and that. So my other son, so I've got two sons, two girls. And it's mad actually. And they're all different in their own movement. It's mad. And it's lovely to watch as well, to be honest with you.
Okay. I want to read some of the comments. The dude Sean says a lot of these families should hike together once a week or more, or family walk 5 days a week. Then we'll see who's crying. Feisty one says some parents have swung the other way in an effort to balance things. Feisty one, what do you mean by that in terms of swung the other way? I don't I don't understand what you mean by that. Are you able to take the mic or no? Um, because that's an interesting statement. I just don't know exactly what you mean. And the dude Sean, you may not take a walk, with your family, once a week, but I do believe that families should engage in
I think
some type of activity.
gonna say, I think what Feisty One means is when he says people that some parents have swung in other way in effort to balance things. Well, what I suppose what that means, you've gone through thick and thin, if you know what I mean, like gone through a hell of a time. Even if you don't get on with certain movements, that you still do it in order for your kids. I think that's kind of what he means, maybe.
Okay, well, feisty one, you now have the mic. So can you clarify? Can you clarify what you meant?
Well, what I mean is, I think that failure is a part of life, and it's important that we teach our children that failure is a part of life so that they don't collapse and become nothing because they have a failure. But what I mean by some parents have swung in the opposite direction in an effort to try to balance things out. The whole everybody gets a participation trophy. I think that in doing that, so you go to a game and everybody gets a trophy. It doesn't matter that one team won and the other lost. Everybody gets a participation trophy. And there are negatives to that because we're not teaching our children that that you can lose and that sometimes you will lose. And so it makes it difficult for them to adjust when they do have failures. That's exactly why you hear about kids who, jump off of buildings or jump off of bridges if they get a bad grade, because in their high school or their grade school, they were accustomed to getting all A's, and all of a sudden they get a C, and it's, devastating to them. And I think that, in some instances, parents have created that issue because they want to balance, the kid who's the perfect athlete and the other kid who can't swing a bat to save his life. You want to just make them feel equally valued, and so everybody gets a trophy, and there are ramifications to that. That's all I mean. So I think that, we have to be careful with making it seem like a failure is, nobody likes to fail, but really it's a part of life. It happens. And I think it's important that we teach our kids that. I'm not saying teach failure, but it is important that they know how to deal with failure.
Okay, all right. And Caps wants to add on to that. Thank you, feisty one. Caps, what did you want to say?
With me, my mum always pressured me into getting good grades, and I did get good grades in order to do what I do now. But with me and my kids, like, she pressured me, but she weren't too hardcore. Like, she weren't too harsh. She was cool. Well, my dad was a bit of a git, but my mum was brilliant, and she made me be able to stay there till I was not even 16. But anyway, point being, with my kids, I always wanted kids. So, like, with my kids, I don't pressure them, but I tell them, I talk to them more than ever, and I've got a relationship with every one of them. And I talk to them, and I get to know them. I do what they do. I look at what they play and do what they do, and teach them. I've done it, obviously, since they've been what they are now. And what I agree with is that, like you say, you lose. I've had a kid crying about fractions, you know what I mean? And in the end, he's laughing, giving me the answers, giving me everything. And, you've got to let them go. You've got to let them be. And I agree,
Yeah.
but the thing is, I've let them learn. I've said to them, I don't expect you to get high grades. I don't want to pressure you. I ain't said that to them, but I said, do as good as you can, please. And, my son was reading books at the age of 4. Like, honestly, the other ones weren't, but then they got better. And we maximised on stuff that they weren't doing very well with, and now every report card, everything that they're doing is just on point, and it's not through forced. It's not forced. You know what I mean? And that's what I wanted to add anyway.
Okay. So does anyone want to add to what Caps just said? I know, Crucible Man, I know you have something you want to say.
Yeah, I think the role of parents and teachers, instead of encouraging failure or anything along those lines, is to help the child make sense of why the failure occurred. Answer questions about it, be supportive, you kind of be the voice of reason, I guess, until the child has had enough failure that they're able to sort of get some perspective themselves. Because I think failure and success, but really failure is such a personal thing and everybody handles it differently. But I think if each one of us on this show or anywhere in the country are being honest with ourselves, we've learned far more from the times we've failed than from the times we've succeeded. There's no lesson in success. It makes us feel good. It's enjoyable. It's a goal we all have, no matter what we're doing, whether we're at school or at work, we're at sports, whatever. We want to be successful, but when things are going well and there's no adversity, there's no reason for us to really pay attention. It's only when life kind of grabs us by the collar and kicks us around a little bit that we start to pay attention. And that's, for me at least, the lessons that I've learned in my life and that have stayed with me have been when I've had to overcome adversity, when I've had to kind of look in the mirror and say, okay, whose fault was this? Be honest with yourself and try to learn something from it, as opposed to avoiding failure or putting some kind of a spin on it. I think that's the role of a teacher and a parent, is to help a child make sense of the failure. That's the primary role in my view.
All right. And you also have made a good point. Okay. The dude, Sean, you have the mic.
One thing I just wanted to add to the equation, before all the recent events with COVID-19 and everything, one thing that I did find a little bit alarming was an introduction of meltdown stations to schools. I guess this is kind of a little bit of a spin off losing, but I don't. I guess that's like maybe the negative of taking it too far on encouraging, like kind of bubble wrapping a loss, where there should never be a timeout part of the class where if a child feels like they're getting too angry. I guess this was in lieu of trying to keep down school shootings. Kind of a creative idea, maybe shows like a little bit of virtue signaling to parents, but I think ultimately handicapping the children a bit and really kind of like discrediting and maybe even harmful, especially with the medicines and things like that. When if the child air quotes loses and isn't able to pay attention to the schooling, which may or may not be effective anyways. Just wanted to throw that in, like really meltdown stations for. I don't know.
No, I agree. I get what you're
that's
saying.
the whole, and again, schools today, they're not like they were at least when I was growing up. I mean, I was a child of the 70s. I'm dating myself. I already told you guys yesterday how old I was. I mean, I graduated from high school in 1980. 80.
Yeah.
And I graduated from
I was
university
-5
in 1984.
Fuck
But hold on, Caps. I cannot imagine going to school and having a meltdown station. I mean, seriously, still, what the hell is a meltdown? What is it? What is a meltdown station? Caps, you may have the mic now.
No, like with all my kids, like my kids got COVID right now, like my youngest, and it's like I ain't had the jab, and people think that in England, you're selfish, you should have the jab, and I'm like, no, and they're like, what about your works? And I'm like, well, no, it's my choice, like, and like if I'm gonna get it and I die on it. Like, I'm not being funny, like, but my kid, I ain't gonna give my kid something that I don't know about. I'm gonna watch every other fucker. You take it every 16 months. That's what they said in the news now. And it's like, you do it, I'll watch you, man. I'll watch you, and let's see what happens. Like, I'm not being nasty about it. I don't disagree. My mum and dad have took the jab. My dad's had an heart operation. He's nearly dead. Seriously, like, his kidney failure to fucking, like, seriously, not good. But he's took them and he ain't dead yet. So, it's like, oh, he's all right. So, but I don't want it. I don't. And my child had a letter, like I said, and he ain't having it. And it's fucking shit,
Okay,
really.
Caps, you are getting
Control.
into a whole new topic
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry about that. But
No,
yeah,
no, no,
but
no,
no, I
no,
was
no,
just
that's
talking
fine.
about
I
dude
mean,
Sean. I know what he means. That's what he's on about.
no, yeah, we talked about vaccines about a month ago, but you're getting into a whole new different topic here, which I don't mind, but let's kind of keep it talking about
Yeah,
this, and then we
yeah,
can move on.
definitely.
So, but what about? But can you come back on, because I still want to just really understand what a meltdown station is.
Honestly, I'm not a teacher, so I don't know too much about it. I was dating a young lady, and she had told me about this, and it was popping up in elementary, middle school, and high school, where they can just, I guess, prompt the teacher somehow privately, and then get out of their seat, and then go over to some part of the classroom, and nobody can F with them. It's like they're on base for like 10 minutes or something. It's like, I guess it's like if you're at work and you're like,
is it like a timeout?
yeah, where they just pull the ripcord on the day, and they're like, you know what, um, you know, I guess it's just off limits. They're taking a timeout where I guess they're getting in a place where they're feeling like rage or something like this. I guess what they're trying to promote growth, and maybe letting the kids be aware when to take a break for themselves. I don't know. Honestly, I think it's like a lot of some of these other precautions that are going on later. Wink, wink, Caps. I think if death is the ultimate loss, then like we're not really taking this 9.9, which is a survival rate. Very well.
98.974.
But I won't switch topics either. So look at all these other circumstances, that around, this loss that we have as a society. It's like,
so do Feisty One says, is it for kids with anger management issues? Because my thing is, what happened to sending the child to the principal's office and move on?
I lived in eventually I was put in like the bad kid school. I was a kid who was expelled, and I eventually just gave up and put me in ISS, in school suspension. As far as I know, it was in every single classroom, not just the kids with the LD or ED. And with all respect,
Can I add when you're ready? Yeah.
Okay, so the last time I saw it was probably that I had heard of it around May 2020.
And I think that's sad, because again, you're not teaching children how to deal with anything. I mean, your child's going to come to school and they're going to have a meltdown. So they're going to go into their own little space, whatever. To me, it's like, send the child to the principal, call their parent, have them come pick them up. But I mean, again, is this why our children are growing up to be the way they are? I mean, for lack of a better term. Yes, Caps, you may add.
Right. Now, listen to this one then. So I'm from the UK, England, obviously. Yeah. So in a school where I was doing really, really well, but they'd mix up the classes. And in the end, you'd get a dickhead in your class, and he'd just carry on and he'd do nothing. And I'd get in trouble for not having a certain thing. And I'd be like, And I'm like, yeah, I'll get that one. Boom. And they're like, no, why didn't you have it? And I'm like, look at him, he ain't got nothing. And they're like, yeah, but he's going to be working at McDonald's all his life. That's how the teachers used to be back in my day. Do you know what I mean? It'd be like you got spoken to like a dickhead, and you know, and that's where I was like, nah, nah. And I sat there, I'd done my work, I'd done it all, and I'd sit there and I'd talk, and they'd tell me off for talking. Obviously, you can understand why. But like, you know, and I'm an engineer now, mate, and like I'm a precision engineer. I do well, and the point is, yeah, is that the people make me laugh. Is that like I used to get sent out, go to the principal's office. You know what I did? Fuck, did I go to the principal's office? I hung around the door. I ain't gonna walk there myself. You're mad. That's not walking into fire, really. Do you know what I mean? I'll just go to my next lesson. You know, it's simple. But the point is, I was a good student, and that was it. Like, but I weren't a fucking idiot. And the thing is, I had anger issues. I used to watch mad shit when I was a kid. I used to watch violence when I was a little kid all the time until I got out of my house. So there's all different things. It doesn't mean, oh, because you had that type of life, oh, you've got to act in a certain way. If anything, you learn how not to be. And then
Okay.
you capitalize on that, and then you know, and that I think that's the thing with about children and about parenting. It's like you've got to go through a load of bullshit in order to know how to treat someone, really, I suppose. You know, but yeah, it's a mad.
All
I
right.
think that really, I agree with my friend Caps. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think there's definitely an art with holding everybody accountable to the right to the same standard, but
Exactly.
also holding your ground. You know, as the parent and teachers. But then on the same hand, that where there has to be the finesse
Even
of
now, I love my dad, but I don't fucking like him.
right.
Sorry,
Hold
There
on,
sorry
has
to
hold
to
butt
be.
on,
in.
hold
Sorry
on.
to.
Let
No,
him
I
finish.
hate
Go
my
ahead.
dad, or I don't get along with my dad either. So there's a finesse to doing such, holding the standard for everybody, but then not having everybody be treated carbon copy, if that makes any sense. Being able
Right.
to be sympathetic and empathetic to the child's individual needs, because let's face it, some of them are coming from horrible homes that even the teacher couldn't handle. So but I wouldn't go as far as to with the meltdown station. My first thought was, no, this is definitely promoting that behavior. Like for the child that may just have that a little bit resonating with them, now the guns are going to come out, perhaps, or once it's shown, or the social taboo of acting out. Once that's removed, like who knows what, where that can go. So I don't know.
All right.
Just don't know.
Crucible Man, you wanted to say something. What did you want to say?
Yeah, I think Caps may have alluded to it. I'm not sure exactly what his exact words were, but I think you had a show last week or a couple weeks ago. I don't remember the topic, but we were talking about parents, the role they play in their kids' lives these days, and how they they may be more interested in being friends with their kids, not hurting their feelings, in not giving them the harsh truth about things that might in the long run be a better conversation, instead of kind of what Feisty once said also about participation trophies. I think they do too much of sparing the rod and spoiling the child, to use an old phrase, and I don't know that that's particularly helpful, especially at an early age when you're just kind of learning about failure and about setbacks. You don't have to be, pile on your child when he's failed or they've failed. But at the same time, I think you need to point out, the truth about it and not be so protective of them, because that's what I think leads to meltdown stations.
Okay. All right. I just can't. I just can't just get my hand or just around the whole meltdown station thing, because it just sounds so ridiculous to me. And I just, I mean, I'm just putting myself in school. When I went to school, and it was like, you either go to the principal's office, you go to the dean's office, or they called your parent came to pick you up, and that was it, but it just sounds like that we're coddling children, and it's like, shouldn't this be handled? If your child is having a meltdown, is that something that the parent needs to deal with at home? Because does this mean that as the child gets older and older, now they're in elementary school, when they go to high school, is there going to be a meltdown station? When they go to university, is there going to be a meltdown station? When they get a job and go to work every single day, is your boss going to have a meltdown station because he told you to do something and you didn't like it and you're having a meltdown? So wow, this chat is really going. So I just want to know. Yes, Caps, you may add.
Honestly, this is what I've seen for quite a while. That the people, like the kids who are like, they've got behavioural problems and whatnot. Now they have like a special place that they go to, even like 10 to 20 or 20 years ago for me, and like, wow, even more than that. And like, if they didn't comply, they'd go to this special place and they'd just mollycoddle them rather than deal with them, if you know what I mean. And we'd carry on with our lesson to a degree if they were just really bad. And that's what they've always done. Honestly.
And that's a and,
They
and
don't
that's
deal
a,
with them. Sorry.
no, I was just going to say what you just said. That's a very good point. So yeah. So guys, I
They
am
just put
loving
them to the
this
side,
this
don't they?
conversation. I am
They just
loving
put them
this
to the side.
conversation.
It's horrible, actually, when you think about it. They're just like me. I struggled with things, but I was quick enough to go, I don't understand it. And I was worried because I didn't understand it. Where will the kids go, fuck it? No one cares. And it's a shame. And they should like be a teacher should go up to them and go, come on, this is how you do it. And there's just not, it's not like that anymore. To be honest, it's sad, really. There's not enough concentration on the child if you haven't got a parent who's willing. I love maths, to be fair. Like, that's my job. So like, when my kids come with a math, like, they hate maths, but they love it now because I'll just show them all the formulas. I show them how to do it. It's like, just mate, it's easy, But it's like English. They're brilliant at English. They're better than my 13-year-old's better than me at reading. He's amazing. And he teaches himself Mandarin and plays the piano. He's like, and he taught himself that. But again, I shouldn't chat too much shit. Sorry, but like, yeah, it's not shit though. It's truth, like, and it's lovely, and yeah, it's amazing. Kids, you got to let them be what they want to do. And he hates football, and I love football. How's that one? My son, I wanted him to love football, but no, because I didn't ask him to love football. I didn't tell him to love football. I just let him do what he wanted, and it's beautiful.
Okay. So
but anyway, I'm going to shut up. Go on.
Okay. Okay. First of all, Caps. Okay, hold on, Caps. Don't say anything yet. Does anyone else who has not had an opportunity to talk, does anyone want to take the mic? I am asking you, does anyone want to say anything who has not had an opportunity to speak? Anybody? Because I know we have people on here who are just listening. I know my friend Juju. I know you like to listen. Is there anyone else?
Juju from before? We knew Juju from before.
Caps, hold on. Caps, hold on. So, is there anyone else who wants to say anything? Because I now want to ask another question. What do you guys think of people who, Charlene, okay, what do you think of people? What do you think of parents who are in the stands? And I said this before, who are fighting with each other while their kids are playing the sport. They're playing, little league or tag football or whatever it is out there now, soccer or whatever. And the parents are in the stands fighting. What kind of example do you think that children really take that to heart, and as they get older, that they may have some anger issues, or they may not necessarily be a good sport because they see their parents are not being a good sport? Does anybody want to take that? Shy
If I
lady.
may
Yeah, I'll
comment.
take it. But I'll shut the fuck up as well.
Okay, Caps. I will come back to you, Caps. Let Shy Lady say something. Go ahead, Shy Lady.
I just want to say that I've experienced that because I have 3 of my children play sports, and we've had parents on the same team. Like for basketball, for instance, we had parents on the same team yelling, "Give him the ball!" Like give their son the ball. But when their son gets the ball, they turn it over, and you just have parents like that who just act up. And sadly, more than likely, their kids are going to act the same way when they grow up and have kids themselves. It's just learned behavior, and if it's not corrected, it will be duplicated.
You have a good point. Caps, what did you want to say? Okay. I gave you that opportunity.
No, sorry. I fully agree. Sorry. I was trying to do something then. Sorry about that. Bloody hell. Can't even scratch your head in here, can you? But I'm only joking.
I
But
know.
yeah, man, I agree with what Chill Lady said. I really do. Like at the end of the day, like I've seen it too, and it's a shame. But again, like it's just like you look at your kids and you look at them and you just think, fuck, what goes on in the house, man.
And that brings me, back to what we were talking about
Yeah.
on my show about 2 weeks ago when I said, are your
Yeah.
kids growing up to be like you?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Crucible Man, I know you are dying to say something. What did you want to say?
Yeah, I think kids they see and they pay attention and they absorb a lot more than I think parents and teachers and adults give them credit for. So I think if you're watching your parents in the stands and they're acting out, and I think kids are probably at a certain age too young to recognize the hypocrisy involved in them, trying to teach their children to accept failure. And then you see your parents rolling around in the stands, pulling the hair out of the head of, one of your classmates, parents, and you can't help but be affected by that. Just as if they sat in the stands and behaved themselves, you'd file that away as well. And I think parents mistakenly sometimes think kids are too young to retain certain information, remember certain events. They're kids, they'll forget about it, and they probably do forget about a lot. But whether the lesson is a positive one or a negative one, I think kids are always paying attention, and we don't give them enough credit for paying attention and an understanding. It's not just paying attention, it's understanding at an earlier age than I think maturity might indicate. So yeah, I think whether the lesson's a positive one or a negative one, kids are always watching.
Okay, and Crucible Man, I'm going to go back to the conversation that we had yesterday. I said that even though we were talking about, if your children have a say so and if you got married, whatever, but I say that children they pick up things. They are not stupid. They see things, and we do not give them credit. I'm just going to make that point. And the dude, Sean, you wanted to say something.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So with the parents fighting, claiming, hey, my child hasn't gotten in the game enough, even though they like turn over the ball every time they get it. It's that forcing this fair thing. I don't know how that became to the point where it's like militant, where everything has to be fair, to the point to where it's like tearing down other people just to equalize, to be all inclusive. We know where that can go. And honestly, when we don't keep that like healthy margin balance. But as far as kids go, this is kind of funny. I always remember being that kid. I was like, you know what? I'm a 10-year-old. If you want to keep giving the football to the 13-year-old who's been on this team for 4 years, is 2 feet taller than me, and is the coach's son, so we can get first place and I can share a first place trophy and tell all my friends that I'm first place material too. What do they know? I'll take it. Back to my Nintendo, thank you. Like, what did I care?
My son is not athletic at all. When I say at all, I mean at all. And before he was homeschooled and he was going to regular school, they would have these events, where running and basketball and whatever. But whenever it came to the track races, it was like my son, he always came in last. And you know what I'm saying to myself, God love him. I'm like, good job, whatever. But it was like he didn't, it didn't affect him that he came in last. He was like, well, mom, at least I finished. Yep, at least you finished. You didn't get first place, second or third, but at least you finished. So it's like I've never wanted to be that parent who is going to yell at my kid because you aren't playing basketball, or why didn't you do this, or you shouldn't do this. I just think that you should encourage your children in a healthy way, but I also think that you should teach them that failure is going to be a part of life, and you have to fail with grace, because a lot of times people who fail over and over and over are the ones who end up being these phenomenal successes. But then you have people who were told to just succeed, and when they become athletes or even entertainers, whatever, they become these huge assholes. So I don't know. So anyway, that is what I think. We are coming towards the end of the hour. Does anyone, and you do, Sean, I'm right. I'm right. Shy lady, you want to say something?
I just wanted to add about the whole parent thing. Real short, I'll make it real brief. I found myself in a situation that I never thought I would be in. A parent challenged me to a fight at a game.
What?
Yeah. So the situation was, it was a middle school game. My son was in the he was in the 7th grade at the time. And our team was kicking this opponent's butt. And every time one of our kids would go to the free throw line, she would stomp real loud on the bleachers with her feet. And I said to myself, I'm so tired of this. Is like maybe the 3rd quarter. I got sick of them. And I said, you're so rude. I said, no one does that when your kid go up there. And I said, you're being childish. So after the game, she challenged me to a fight.
Oh, goodness.
I gave her
I
shouldn't have egged her on, because I gave her the
I would have knocked her. I would have punched her in the throat and bit her nose off. The cheeky bitch. Sorry.
Caps, please let Shy Lady finish. Please
He's so funny. He's so funny.
Please let Shy Lady finish. Hello, Mr. A.
I shouldn't have egged her on, because when the game was over and my son's team won or whatever, she came down. She was like, I bet you won't say that to me now, because I kind of yelled it over across the bleachers from her, because we were kind of we were sort of side by side. They were on the visitor side. It was a home game, and she said, "Say it to me now. Say it to me now." And I gave her the 2 L signs to shut her up, like loser. I gave her the L sign, and with each hand. And then I was like, and then she came over and she was like, come on, let's take it outside. My husband looked at me like, are you serious? Are you really, allowing yourself to get into this ridiculous behavior? And I told her, I said, you're not worth it. You're not worth it. I said, I'm not going to lose my job over some petty BS middle school drama. I said, you're stupid. You know what she said? Your mama. And I said, you don't even know my mother. You sound ridiculous.
What a child, your mama.
It was just so
your mama
stupid.
Cooking some food right now, motherfucker.
it was just so ridiculous. I
would have laughed, man.
And here's the funny thing. After all that happened, my husband started talking to this man, and it was her husband. And I didn't know my husband had knew her husband from
shit.
And I was like, what? And they were looking at us like, oh, that's your wife? Yeah, that's my wife. That's your wife too? And it was like, oh my God. But I told my husband, I said, this woman could have a knife or something. I said, you make sure that you stand behind me when you're walking in case she really pulls something crazy. But needless to say, I was so glad that was the last time we played that team, because the woman was just ridiculous.
I'm glad I brought my razor.
And I say all of that to say that these are the kind of parents who are teaching their kids this kind of behavior, and they grow up to do the same thing.
I mean, first of all, I think that's absolutely ridiculous that you have parents that stoop. I literally say stoop to that level, because again, they are children and they're playing. But even if you were at a professional game, it's still just so unacceptable and so rude and so ridiculous. I mean, it's just dumb. I do want to say something. The dude gave me a very nice compliment. And I just want to say thank you, guys. The show does not work without participants like you guys. And the fact that, again, when I give people the mic, I'm genuinely interested in what people have to say. So when I started the show, and I don't mean to repeat myself from yesterday, but when I started the show, I did not want a show where I was talking at you. I want to talk with you and have a conversation. So again, the show works because you guys make it work. And I seriously thank you guys very, very much. So, and Cap says we wouldn't be here otherwise. But guys, that is it. Dude,
No,
actually
you
gave me
can't
an
go.
idea
You can
for
shut the
another-
front door. Yo, no, you can't go anywhere. What you doing?
I
What
have
you
other
doing?
things. I have other things
No,
that
you're not
I need
allowed.
to do.
You've been brilliant, man. Oh, Mr. A, I hope you're doing well. You know.
Well, thank you, very much.
Well,
but
oi,
I
solid.
do know
I
that.
think you're fucking brilliant anyway. All right. And you know what? I don't go into no one's show, but when I seen yours come up about parents and shit, I just seen that title and thought, yeah, that's her, innit? Right, I'm going in there.
Well, tomorrow's show is going to be a bit controversial, probably for some
What's
people.
What's it gonna be about there? Come on.
It is going to be about raising biracial children and race.
I ain't done that before, but I know a lot of people that do.
Well, just a lot
My
of things
missus
that are
has
going
got
on.
just to give you an insight, I've got something to say. Do you know why? Because my missus has got 2 mixed race brothers. So, boom. Yes. I'm going to be in there.
Juju, bye, and thank you for
Juju.
coming.
Juju, have a good one, man. Enough love, man.
Make sure you guys
in a
follow
long
me.
time.
I'm desperate for.
Okay,
dude.
Hold on, Caps.
Dude.
Hold on.
I'll see you soon.
Caps,
I'm saying goodbye.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm saying goodbye. Sorry.
So,
but Crucible, I think you're a brilliant bloke. Dude, say feisty one. You're a feisty one. You are. And Chill Lady, I think you're a wicked. I loved what you were saying, and I really agree with you. Same with you all. You're a brilliant show. But I'm going to jump out, and I love you all. I'll see you soon.
Well, thank you, Caps. You enjoy the rest of your evening. All right, guys. So, like now, I'm just at a loss right here. So, guys, again, thank you. So much. And again, I know the show sometimes it can go over, but I'm in California, so I'm usually behind everyone else in terms of time. And I know that people have other things to do, and your day is probably going into evening now, but thank you so much. Hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. Always speak your truth. I'm Solid Blue Sister. This is my turn to talk, and I hope to see you next time. Bye. You guys, thank you so much. This was a good show. So thank you. And dude, I will follow you. I thought I was. Let me check that right now. Let me check you. Am I following? Yes, I am. I am following you. I just checked. You have more followers than me, dude. I'm the one that needs followers.
Catch me every Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time.
11 p.m. So that is 8 o'clock for me. I will put it on my calendar.
And there's
I'm in. Let's see, 11 o'clock. 8 o'clock. So, do you have any particular?
Honestly, it's It's designed as an after-hours party for after the Chris Unplugged show, which comes on at 9 p.m., where I currently take over spinning records, etc. But it has turned into a talk fiesta, like this has been. Maybe, but not on this level. This is I like the intellect, and you have me laughing like no other. I'm not ready. I don't even want to go the rest of the day.
had you laughing. I didn't know I was being funny.
This show was both informative and entertaining. Thank you much.
Well, thank you. But it doesn't work without everyone else. So, Chemist, come on, dude. Now you know what time I start, and you're coming in at the end where the music is about to take me off the show. Come on, Chemist. Now, Chemist is someone that is funny as hell. Chemist is someone who will have you laughing. He will have you laughing. But everyone, that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Love you all. Bye.